Hello everyone, welcome back for another video tutorial. This video we will focus our study on the understanding of MVC controller. Now to visualize MVC controller architecture, allow me to go back to our project folders and we start from there. So let's go ahead and open up your command line over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code along with this. And the next step is once we have already entered into this environment for the first time, when you open up the projects, most of the time they will pop up a menu window right here for notification saying that you have to add the build option so that you can run the application in this environment. But from time to time, I have discovered that sometimes it doesn't open up, and whenever I place F5 over here, you can see that it doesn't actually run the applications. Okay, so what we are going to do is first, we are going to build the application first inside this environment. So go ahead and go to open up the terminal from here, so we can say new terminal. This is going to be similar to your command line right here, but this is run inside the IDE, the environment. Now I can say build, .NET build to build up our applications. And after the build, then it should generate another folder called bin. Inside this folder, we have a subfolder that contains the actual executable file right here. Okay. Now the next step is once this is done, we just have to place F5 and select .NET Core. Okay, so for the first time when we selected this, you can see that it's already created the launch.json file. This file is needed whenever you want to launch your applications. So over here, what we need to fix out is when you look at the folder here, we need to show the name of this file and directory structure. So this file is located inside .NET Core App 2, so we need to change this a little bit. So over here, I just have to type .NET Core App 2.0 / followed by the name of this executable file, which is project1.dll. Now we can copy this file text setup and then also place it over here, because now we are working on the web application size, and make sure that everything is correct. So I'm going to put this text back in. Okay, so that is two places that you have to make changes, over here under consoles and under the web, and then you save your applications. And now you can see that we have one file called launch.json, which is not enough. Now let's go ahead and do this. Place F5 one more time. It's going to show you error message like this. If that happens, we say configure task and select create task.json, and now select .NET Core. Now up to this point, you can see that inside .vs Code folder, we are now having two files, launch.json that we just make some edits, and now another new file which is task.json. Okay, this process doesn't need to be there if the system show you notification message over here and then you say add build options, but this is not the case. This is the step that you need to perform. Now when you place F5 on your keyboard, then you should be able to run the applications. Okay, so you can see that now it shows us the debug console application area, and it's going to also open up the web browser for us. But if it doesn't show you open up your web browser automatically, what you need to do is you go to your web browsers manually here and then type localhost and 5000. Now I'm going to open this along with this to see what would be the output. Okay, so now let me enter here. Alright, so it's going to perform something down here and open up the web. Now let's take a look at these messages together. Okay, so over here inside the server file, okay, it's show that it's made something, okay, and then talk to somebody to come up with the response that sent back to the web browsers. Okay, so that means there's something behind the scene happen here. Now to show you this effect, allow me to use PowerPoint slide to show you the effects of MVC. So over here, imagine that we have web browser over here, and we also have web server, our web applications. Now whenever you enter, and usually the web server have couples and a set of controller like this, okay. This controller will be reviewed later. Now imagine that on the web browser side, I use http://localhost:5000 inside the URL, and then I hit enters. This HTTP request will be submitted to the web server. Okay, we call HTTP request. And now, since we have many middlemen, home controller, product controller, and any other controller, how the web server know that which controller will be used to serve this particular request? Okay, so normally for your startup file, we have to register for the default controller, because whenever you specify only your IP address and the port number, the system doesn't know which controller will be used to serve this request. So in this case, we say that whenever the user just put IP address and the port numbers, then it's going to relay to the default controller. And the default controller that we set over here is a controller name is equal to homes and the action is equal to index. So that means whenever the server look at this setup and they say, oh, this request can be handled by this man, the home controller. And the home controller will got triggers, okay, we got the creation of the objects for this controller, and then make the function call for index functions or the method index, okay, and this output will be going back to the web browser. This green line is what we call the response, that could be just a basic data or the business view. Now the same request can be made based on the same IP, but now you can see that we also say slash and the products as the controller name. So in this case, you can specify the different controller when you make the request from the web browsers. So in this case, this time, this request will be transmitted to the server. And since the server know that in addition to this IP address, the user want to access to products. So in this case, the server will wake up product controller, create the instance or object of this controller, and then resource to the function index, execute the function index inside these controllers, and then send the response back to the web browsers. Okay, so that is the second possibility. Now the next possibility is when the user also specify the name of controller here, also the action name. The action name in controller is nothing but a function implementation for that particular controller. So in this case, whenever I specify products and action 1, this request will be submitted to the same server, and the server look at who is going to be the handle for this. So we know that it's going to be product controller, and you can see that we do not have to put the word controller beside the product, just the prefix of the word product is good enough. Okay, and then this time besides having just the name of controller, we also specify that we want to execute not the index function but the action 1 function. So in this case, it's going to resource to action 1 functions and execute this function called the functions and return the response. So just to make a quick review, whenever we do not specify controller as the name, it's going to go to the default controller and then pick up actions index, which is the function index, call the function index and return the data or the view. If we specify the product as the controller, instead of going to the default controller here, the request will be passed to the server, and the server will wake up the product controller here. And since we do not specify the actions, so it's going to be default for actions index. And this one will be executed, data will be returned to the user. Whenever you specify both controllers and actions, the request will be passed to the server. The server pick up, select the controller for you, create the instance for this controller, execute these actions, send back the data or the view to the web browser. This is how the controller works behind the scene. So for the next video, we are going to look at how do we implement the controller in the code. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.